My name is Janine Lafort. I'm the program coordinator for international business. I also teach supply chain in the program. What we're going to cover off today, just a little bit of an agenda for the next hour, is why choose international business at George Brown College. So what's our competitive advantage? We're going to talk about the program basics so you can evaluate whether this is the right decision for you. We're going to go into work experience and industry connections. We'll take a look at employment trends and job prospects because that is near and dear to every student's heart. And then finally, how to apply and some contact information. Is there anything on this agenda that maybe, or maybe there's something missing on the agenda that you would like answered? So this is a certificate that runs for 2 semesters, so 8 months, and it's for students that already have a bachelor or sometimes a master's in a post-secondary institution, okay? So it's not for students that are straight out of high school. So why should you choose international business at George Brown College? What is our competitive advantage? And when I say, you know, George Brown's a competitive advantage, I'm really saying your competitive advantage. What's the advantage of a George Brown certificate in the marketplace? So there's a couple of key things. We have faculty in B411 that have significant industry experience. I worked for a major retailer in supply chain. I've worked with people in the Pacific Rim, building out assortments. I've worked in global sourcing. I've worked on digital teams. We have faculty that have worked in marketing for major organizations, not just in Canada, but globally as well. So we have finance people, marketing people. We have one professor who has done a lot of product modification for different markets, which is what international business is about. So they've got a wealth of experience in international business. So that's fantastic. We also have strong connections to industry associations. And you might be thinking, well, why does that matter? A lot of students go on and get additional certifications. So the Forum for International Trade Training, for example, is a Government of Canada run organization, and they offer training program and certifications such that you can get certified. It means that you've met a certain standard in the industry. And the same thing with the Freight Forwarding Association. So if you check out LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of professionals have this beside their names. Now, that's just a bit about our faculty and our industry associations, but what about our curriculum? Because this is where the rubber hits the road. How are we different, and how are we going to help you achieve your career goals? First of all, our curriculum has industry input. I just got off of a PAC meeting the other day, and they're telling us and giving us feedback about what they're looking for in graduates, and we incorporate that into our program. We exceed the ministry standards. Our programs are FIT and CIFA approved, which means when you graduate, after you've built up some experience, you can go and take the exams and get those additional certifications to add to your resume and to build out your portfolio. Our assignments are based off of the industry input. So our assignments are practical. In one course, for example, I have students go out and interview an industry professional and ask them how they might have done something like adapt a product or what have you. Now we have layers here. We have students that say, oh, I'm gonna interview my mom because it's easy. I'm going to interview my dad or my cousin or my uncle because it's easy. And that, you know, that student's not building out their network, but they're getting the assignment done. And then we have the students that say, okay, I'm going to use this opportunity. Professor Lafort has put in 10,000 coffees. So it's a networking organization. And I'm going to reach out to someone I don't know. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to network and really, you know, do something with this assignment. Well, that individual met an industry professional, maintained the contact, and then wound up getting a job. So these are kind of like with our practical assignments, we try to bring in the work, the work experience that get you out to meet those industry people so that you can build out your network. We also have a fantastic course called Global Trade Assessment. And this is a research course. And that's why you see a student here sitting in our library performing research. So a lot of students will come to me and they'll say, you know, Janine, I'm interested in setting up a business. I want to bring, one student said to me, he wanted to bring countertops from India to Canada. I guess not quartz, granite. I'm like, really? You're going to ship it from India? But apparently it's done. I didn't know that. So what he wanted to do was do some research. What is the countertop market here in Canada? Who else buys those granite countertops? And he was able to do that through this global trade research course that we take, where we show students how to do the research in setting up a business, or how to assess whether there's a market for your product. So many cool insights are learned in this course. When I was teaching it once, I had a student say to me, hey, Janine, every time I click on certain categories of products, they've all taken a hit in 2009. And some of you might be, I don't know, might be too young to know what happened in 2009, but it was the world financial crisis. But there was one category that did not take a hit. Can you guys tell me which one it is? Which category didn't take a hit in the financial crisis? I know you came to a webinar and I'm asking you scholastic questions. Who would have thought? Pop an answer in the just for fun. Just what do you think? What wouldn't take a hit in a global recession?
Alcohol, maybe.
Alcohol. Well done. Well done. That's not, well, I don't know. We didn't look at alcohol necessarily, but yeah, alcohol is up right now. And in one of my courses, Supply Chain, I just posted a link to an article about Spanish wine not being able to be shipped. So we keep our courses and our curriculum very current. No, it wasn't alcohol per se. I'll give you a hint. Women use it. Let me see. Am I seeing anything in the chat?
No, nothing there.
Nothing in the chat. Ah, the suspense, the suspense. Don't you folks want to know what didn't take the hit? Thank you. Thank you, Frederick. Yeah.
Ah,
Cosmetics.
thank you, Frederick.
Oh, the whole class, we erupted into laughter. True. Because no matter what the financial situation, a woman's going to go out and buy lipstick so she can go get the job. So we just thought that was funny. Now the cosmetic includes things like shampoo, conditioners, soaps. But that was really, really interesting for the students to like, wow, okay. Yeah, because, you know, as a VP once said to me, it's not what you do during the good times. You grew sales in a period of growth. Anyone can do that. But how do you achieve sales in a downturn? That's the questions they're going to ask you. And that's what we bring into our courses. So very important. We also like to give you a lot of opportunities for what we call work integrated learning. And we have a capstone simulation in second semester. This is challenging for students. If you go on to any of the chats, you might hear, oh, this is a really tough course. It causes a lot of anxiety, but there's no growth without some kind of, you know, I don't know what I'm doing situation happening. And this simulation really allows you to combine everything you've learned: finance, supply chain, marketing, logistics, corporate sustainability, human resources. And you get to kind of pull all those levers to see if you can make money. It's a very challenging simulation. We have a fantastic prof running this course, Ralph Vizel, and he's got a finance background. So he really helps students understand the financial implications of their decisions. Now, I'm a marketing grad myself. I kind of got out of accounting as soon as I realized I'd have to pass third year accounting. So it's important for marketing people to know the financial implications. We also have, and this is unique across the GTA, this course, the guest speaker course. We've included into this course developing your value proposition. So we have a fantastic prof here, Dr. Mary Grogan, and she works with students on uncovering their unconscious biases, how to develop your value statements, putting in an employment framework. I don't want you to leave my program thinking about your job. I want you to leave thinking about your career and putting in the first steps on how do you look at your career. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions on curriculum? In a few slides, I'm going to go on to specific courses as well. No questions? I'll sip my coffee while I wait.
I'll ask a question, Janine, that might be helpful, to the people here. And that is, does the curriculum provide a good foundation to get professional certifications, or does it lead you down that path?
Yeah, it absolutely does, Mark. Thank you for asking that. So we are affiliated with FIT and with CIFA. So after taking our courses, you can go on their websites, and that's very clear, and then you have to take an exam. So our courses will help you with that exam. They'll help you with the learnings of it, but you do have to certify through that organization. Yeah. We don't offer that certificate at George Brown College. You have to go to that organization to get that. So we find students usually do that within 3 years of graduation, depending. It depends on your background. If you're already coming from a logistics background, you might do it sooner. I once spoke to a student. He came from South America. He had a master's in business, like an MBA, and he had an undergraduate. He worked in the computer programming field and project management. So one thing he did after completing the program was go get his FIT designation so that he could become a member. And then he used that as a way to network and expand his network in Canada, because he was brand new. So it's a good way to expand your network. So what do we also have? Our postgraduate program is for students with a bachelor degree, as I stated already. Now, some students come in with MBAs as well. So student comes from diverse educational backgrounds. That's what I really like about this program, because we have students from science and law and business and social sciences. So you get them into a room and they can help problem solve on the assignments and on the capstone project. And I find that students that are more diverse do better, like teams that are more diverse do better than teams that are not. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, school kind of mirrors the real world. So what are the program basics? We do 3 intakes a year. So January, May, and September. Our class sizes are generally between 30 and 50 students. Now, this is an intense program. Sometimes it's even more challenging than university. It consists of 8 months of academic work. And this academic work includes case studies, presentations, group work, and individual assignments. Classes are delivered both asynchronously and synchronously. So asynchronously means, like my supply chain course, there's no schedule. The course is delivered online. I've posted videos. I've got some great interactive games, and students go through it at their own pace. They have to complete it by the end of the semester and, take the test during the scheduled times. Synchronously means that the prof is delivering a lecture. Now, that will either be a virtual lecture or an in-class lecture. For January, because of COVID, first semester is online and second semester is in class. If that can help clarify some things there.
how is the situation in September for next year? Or you don't know that?
Yeah, we don't know that. I would, yeah, I can't even. I don't know. You know, the logic would dictate that we might be back in class by next September, but you don't know how this thing is going to roll out with COVID. Yeah, it's kind of sad, eh? So classes run. So how are you scheduled? Some of you might be thinking, hey, can I have a part-time job? Can I work full-time? I've got some students that work full-time. So classes can run anytime between Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock. So you've got 18 to 22 hours of in-class instruction per week. There's a lot of group work, and individual work is expected outside of class time. So, you know, you're cautioned against working, you can work maybe 10 to 13 hours per week. If you're really focused, you could probably get to 24 hours per week. We try to keep the schedule running such that your classes are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it can happen at any, like classes can be scheduled at any point. But we try to give you the 2 days off. But I want to make sure I'm clear that the classes can run anytime Monday to Friday. Sometimes I get students emailing me saying, hey, I want to take a job and I'm going to work Fridays and Mondays. Can you guarantee me that there's no classes? No, I cannot. I can't guarantee that. Okay. Your evaluation methods are research papers, case studies, computer simulations, presentations. You do have midterm and final exams, and these are such that we know that, like, we're preparing you for those CIFA and FIT exams. So after doing our exams, you're going to be, you know, better prepared. Think of them as a practice run before taking the real exam. There is a strong online component, and there's also significant interaction working in teams. So we do have a lot of in-class interaction. For my asynchronous course, I do set up an MS Teams site so that students can interact via MS Teams. Okay. We do have a program page. Have any of you been on the program page yet? Have you? Has anyone been on the program page? Not yet. Yeah, Ibrahim, you have. Did you have any questions? Thoughts?
Well, the thing is, I have a master's degree in international business.
Okay.
And my fear would be that the program would be too similar to what I have already done, and that will be not that great. If the program is a little bit different, where I learn different things in different situations, then yeah, that will be more appropriate. That is
yes.
my concern.
That would be a concern. What I'm going to show everyone now how to take a look at that and evaluate it. Are you an international student?
Yes. Like I said, I come from Germany. I live in Germany.
You live in Germany. Okay. So let me just switch screens now. Okay. Can everyone see? You should see a picture of a woman, and this is Anu. She teaches in the International Business Program. She's going to kill me for showing you this on tape. Okay, so this is the International Business Program. That was funny. You guys can pop something funny in the chat. Oh, wait, you're not seeing it. There you go. Can you see it?
Yes.
There's Anu. Okay, So when you're looking at this International Business Postgraduate B411, you can print the program here, and I recommend that you absolutely do that and keep a soft copy on your computer or print it out and put it in a binder. You have a program overview here. Is it Frederick that mentioned? Okay, so here you have our required courses. So you can see the different kinds of courses. And if you scroll down, you see detailed course outlines. So my recommendation to every student is when you sign up and you're registered, pull all of these course outlines down and keep them on your computer. Because if you ever want to get a transfer credit, you're going to need this detailed course outline. Okay, so when you click on detailed course outlines, you can view all of the course outlines here.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so like, for example, if you've got a master's in international business, you've probably done supply chain management and you've probably done sales and marketing. I would hazard a guess. You've probably done freight forwarding too. I mean, maybe you didn't do freight forwarding or customs.
No.
And we have a capstone project, which is a simulation, which, by the way, is Finnish. And a lot of German universities and Austrian universities use the same simulation that we're using here at George Brown. So I'll leave it to you, because you have to kind of take a look at your visa requirements, because you could probably get some transfer credits for the program, but I don't know how that impacts your visa. So you'd have to take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay, another thing that you can look at doing if you've done international business is project management.
Yes, that could be.
Right, because then you can get your PMP. And they have the PMP has a broad network similar to CIFA, similar to FIT, Forum for International Trade Training. But with a master's in international business, the project management might be very helpful. And so you could do project management first and then do B411 and get your transfer credits, depending on your visa situation. You're in Germany right now?
Yes.
Okay. And this is your first time in a Canadian postgraduate?
Yes.
Yeah. So you might want to take a look at that, but international business will help you with that.
Okay.
Okay. So, so I recommend you kind of take a look at all of these. So then I'm going to just click this button up here and I'm going to go back. You can watch this interview from Anu, and she gives a great reason on why you should do postgraduate or international business. You've got this here, career and postgraduate study options. Okay, so this is the FIT, Certified Customs Specialist, and Freight Forwarder. And these are kind of the related jobs that you can look to getting.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're kind of picking this program, I've had a lot of students, prospects, future students email me, and one young woman says, you know, when I go on LinkedIn and I look at certain jobs, I see that people have got George Brown diplomas. So depending on what you want to get, like freight forwarding right now, I know, and logistics, they need people. They can't get people. So that's just me with my boots on the ground, knowing that. You can see that you've got project manager here, international trade shows. So you could segue this into a really nice career. And they are going to be hiring. Yeah.
So question that might be helpful to the people here.
Yeah.
From what I don't know anything really about logistics and supply chain. However, as the average person on the street, we know the ships have been backed up in Long Beach, California. People are moving supply chains from China to, say, Thailand and Singapore. So my question is, do you see more jobs in supply chain and international business than kind of because of COVID, or has that increased the job market?
Well, I don't work for the government of Canada and do all the analytics on jobs. And I'm going to show you a few slides of what the pre-pandemic take on the job market in Canada. But that's changed, Mark, to your point. And when I talk to professionals that are on my path, they need people. They can't seem to hire people for logistics and supply chain and what have you. So I think there's much more of a need for that now, and it might have changed the job outlook that was predicted in 2018. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I also think people that have this international business background, because some of our courses deal with the cross-cultural considerations. The number one thing that our PAC industry leaders are saying is we need people that know how to work with people that are international. It's not just about what do you eat and what's your favorite food. It's, do you know how to understand the cultural implications when you're working overseas? Does that make sense for folks?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So like, I'll just give you an example from my background. I worked for a major retailer and we worked routinely with people in the Pacific Rim. So we had offices in Shanghai and Hong Kong, and we would go on conference calls. We would alternate. Sometimes it would be the morning here, sometimes it would be the night here, so that we weren't always really early in the morning, no matter where you were across the pond. One thing that Canadians do, and we don't even know we do it, is we always start talking about the weather, and I did it here today. And oh, I'm drinking coffee because it's getting cold out. I mean, honestly. And so our PAC Rim team must have been coached on this, and they'd get on every call and they'd say, oh, how's the weather in Canada? And of course we'd go off about how cold it is, and they'd be telling us about how steamy and hot it was, and we'd always start off like this. But let me tell you, that's a good news story. Let me tell you about a time where it didn't kind of work out. I was working with someone in supply chain. I was in the global sourcing team, and they got reprimanded by their manager because she started off her email just asking how this person's weekend was in the Pacific Rim. And she got slapped on the wrist for that, like, oh, you should maintain professionalism and you shouldn't be asking people how their workday was. And she came to me and she said, Janine, was that okay? And I'm like, yeah, it was absolutely okay. The PAC Rim team can't build connections because they're overseas and we only see them on conference calls. And this is before the pandemic, so we didn't do a lot of video conference calls. It was all voice. And so they like to ask questions. Hey, because they're working and it's our nighttime. And so they'd say, hey, Janine, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, dancing around in my basement. What are you doing? We keep it kind of fun, and that builds those international connections. And we teach that in this program. Yeah. So also of importance, when we're going under the full description, these are your program learning outcomes. Can everyone see those on the screen? Yeah. So why am I pointing this out to you? Folks, this is how you kind of can say, what can I do when I come out of this course? So you should be, when you're coming out of this course, developing artifacts and portfolio items that you can show future employers. I know how to do an environmental scan to look at world issues. Okay. So
I have a slight question.
Sure.
There's also another program, International Business B131, B161. What's the difference?
So I'm going to be doing a webinar at 10:30. 131 and 161 is our diploma. We tend to get more students straight out of high school in that, but okay. I would say 20 to 30, anecdotally, 20 to 30% are international students that have existing degrees already, and they come into that program so they don't have to do it's how their visa works, right? Like they want to do the 3 years. So the 131 is a 3-year diploma, and the 161 is like a 3-year diploma with co-op. So you get a co-op position.
Okay.
Okay. But is it the same person that has a master's in international business is asking this question?
Yes,
Frederick?
yes.
Yeah, I don't think
No,
that's,
Ibrahim, not Frederick.
oh, you're not Frederick. Okay. I can't see who's, oh, it's Ibrahim. Yeah, if you've already got a master's, I don't recommend taking a diploma.
No. All right. Okay. I just wanted to clarify what the difference was, but since yeah, okay, that's the degree, like a bachelor of science or bachelor of arts, something like that. Would that be or?
Oh, so okay, so in Canada, we have colleges that issue diplomas, and then we have universities that issue degrees. The
Mhm.
colleges offer much more apprenticeship training, and so we give postgraduate certificates. So think things that are affiliated with industry, like project management. So you can do a certificate in project management and then take your PMP exam. Or you can do a certificate in international business and get your CIFA certification, custom certification, or FIT certification. So it's so sometimes people that have master's degrees come and do certificates because it's lifelong learning now. You don't just get your degrees and then that's it.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
It's-
So my son, for example, has he did a Bachelor of Environmental and Urban Sustainability. He did a master's in urban planning. He's going to be doing a project management certificate.
Mhm.
Right.
I see.
If that kind of makes sense.
It,
A
it-
lot
it
of
does.
a lot of
does.
things lead to project management. Mark, don't you teach in project management? Like, honest to heaven. Now I'm selling your program. I don't know. But I'd love to have you, Ibrahim, in my program. But yeah, we might have to take it offline, and I'll give you my contact information. So this is on the website as well, and these are your courses. Each course is 3 hours long. When like in class time, as it were. Okay. International Guest Speaker Series is 2 hours long. Capstone, folks, I got to warn you right up front, really heavy right in the beginning. It's really heavy because you got to learn the simulation, but it is fun. Students do find it worthwhile. And what I find is that students have put it on their resume, like on their cover letter. This is what I learned in this course running the simulation. And this student got the job. In the interview, he was able to talk about how he built out his team and he didn't always win. I had another student who changed her strategy and they never recovered. They lost money for the rest of the semester. And she was crushed. But I said to her, I coached her and I said, hey, what's the good thing? And she's like, Miss, I don't know. Like I changed it. Now I'm letting my team down. I sent her a newspaper article from Bed Bath & Beyond. They were closing their stores. And the CEO had to come out with a rah for Bay Street and Wall Street. And I said, this is what has to go in your annual report. You had to change your strategy. You're going to regroup. You're going to do this. You got to keep your team motivated. And this is a great way, like an interview question. Tell me about a time when you worked on a team and it didn't go as planned. She's got the answer. How did she maintain the commitment of her team, even though they were losing? How do you show up every day when you're not winning? So it's a great learning experience. These are our industry connections, and I've got links here in the slide to get to those sites that you can take a look at. I know that freight forwarders are hiring right now. So there are jobs available in that industry and in logistics. Networking opportunities. So I think I've talked about how our programming can help you formulate your career and your job framework. We have college-wide events. Go to them. We have career services with jobs posted. I have set up with career services for you to work with a career counselor who will help you look at your resume. A lot of students are international and you need to Canadianize your resume. And what do I mean by that? We're very big on the statements here about what you did. And a lot of students anecdotally have said to me, oh, but miss, that's bragging. It's not. So it's just how you word your resume. And so they'll help you with that. Okay. We also have this guest speaker course with the employment search framework. This is gold. Gold. I have students coming just like messaging me on LinkedIn, especially with the pandemic. I'm not getting a job. And I'm like, oh, can you pull out your book from the guest speaker series? Oh, I didn't buy it. It's $20. I said, you got to go to that book. It will help you. And I've picked that book specifically because a lot of the students in this program are transitioning. They've already had careers and educational experiences in other countries. So you need to know how to frame that in the new environment that you're now in and going to be working in. And that's this employment search framework that Dr. Mary Grogan goes through is fantastic. Yes, my email is .ca. Very important. Okay, now I know none of you have asked me this because you might be a little bit shy, but what are the job trends? So we just did a program review, and this data is not my data. It comes from the Government of Canada's Job Bank Trend Analysis, and it is based off of 2018 to 2028. So obviously this data is pre-pandemic. So we have to view it with that lens. So international business falls under several national occupation codes or NOCs. And depending upon the direction that you want to take and on the specialization that you want, there's various career paths. So you can see here, this is the wage per hour. That translates into an annual salary range from $44,000 to $82,000 a year. Quite a few of our students wind up as trade analysts working for the banks in the downtown Toronto area. Okay. I also happen to know that there's some government jobs in government procurement, for example, that in 5 to 10 years will be looking for people as well. Okay. So this is not comprehensive. It doesn't mean that this is all that you can become, but this is just an example. When you're taking a look at this, you can see that there's new job openings and then new job seekers. So freight forwarding is really looking, there's not enough people seeking the roles. So the next thing is, how do you apply? So I showed you the website already. Domestic students apply through Colleges Ontario, and international students, there's a how to apply page, and you go to the George Brown online system. And I've got links in the presentation. And if you want my contact information, here it is. Does anyone have any questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to ask this one thing, that does international business course have a greater value than accounting or financial courses?
Oh, that hurts. That's like a knife. Like
Since international business,
you know,
that's
it's
why
okay. So this really depends. I think it really depends on your background and where you're going. It's tough to say. It's tough to answer that question without knowing your background. CEOs now, it used to be when I was in business, like in the 90s, CEOs were marketers. So they had marketing background. In the last 10 years, more CEOs tend to be from the finance realm. So will a finance certificate help you? Absolutely, it will. International business gives you more of the broad range. If you are going to do 2 postgraduate certificates, start with international business, then go into finance. It depends on your background. Like, what's your undergrad in?
It's finance. So I did a bachelor's in finance and accounting.
Okay, so then an international business certificate would help round out that,
Yeah.
because you have to understand the business context as well. When people are hiring, it's not just about the numbers all the time, it's about how you're going to implement those numbers. So that will help you there.
Okay, thank you. Helped a lot.
You're welcome. And you also plan, when you're doing postgraduate certificates, also look for masters. What would your masters be in?
I haven't decided it yet, but for now I was thinking of finance or accounting. So I thought international business would give me a exposure to all of it.
Yes. And global logistics is on the rise. And so having an understanding of global logistics is extremely helpful. Not only that, when it comes to customs, I know a lot of students might not want to be a customs specialist because it comes in at roughly $44,000 a year. But the key in customs is understanding from a finance perspective that, I don't know. This mug is going to be, I'm making this up, it's just making it up, but from a customs perspective, it's English porcelain, so it's going to be more money in duties. But if this were a camping mug, it would be less in duties. So finance people have to understand from a customs perspective how their product is designated and how that impacts duties and whatnot. So that would help you. I think it was Shalina who asked that question. It would help you understand some of those if you view the courses through your financial lens. Hope to see you in class.